First of all, let me say, I've never seen a more incredible set of jugs in my life. No one can possibly argue with that fact. So, as well as playing the jug and featuring a little bit about the music and the sensibility that surrounds this music, I want to give you a little sample of actual jug playing in isolation with nothing else for it to hide behind, and I'm going to do that now. So I put the mic back in the stand because when you're holding heavy earthenware, it's probably safer. This is a jug that Mick Conway lent me. He had to dig it out of his shed, and he hadn't cleaned it, and I had to go, but I think there's more cleaning than actually needs to happen. I don't know what was in it. What was in it, Mick? No idea. Scientific experiments failed to determine what the molecular structure of what was inside it actually was. But anyway, the old guys, they did play these sort of jugs, which are the inspiration for the style of Anna's work and the musicians that are entwined around the necks, and it's absolutely sensational. So this is earthenware. The old guys, they didn't really have amplification. They used to sort of hold them kind of more in front of their faces like this and kind of just really beef it out. But it still wasn't particularly loud, but it sounded really great in your own head. Which is the most important thing, surely. So I'm going to give that a bit of a go. Now, technically, applause for a interrupted cane. Sometimes the jug players are kind of swoop up to each note. This sort of thing. But what people don't really necessarily, they obviously haven't really thought about it a great deal, but the pitch was actually surprisingly good often. A lot of these guys playing earthy, homemade, DIY instruments were incredible musicians who really, really cooked and grooved. They didn't, people who play, fantastic classical violin, they kind of look down, but sometimes there's more music going on in this type of ensemble than there is sometimes in a violin that's not really I don't want to insult violins, please stop! When we were doing the thing with Linda Mottram, I managed to insult percussionists, but I said to Anna that she insulted cowboys, so aren't we even? Although if a cowboy drummer comes along, this is going to kill both of us. So, alright, what I also prepared for us is a little jug mega mix. I made a little audio which I'm going to play to you. And you can hear some real live guys from way back when playing. And you'll hear various things. You'll hear the type of bass lines that I was playing. You'll also hear fragments of melody. And you'll hear sometimes jug in the kind of tenor range, not just the bass range, playing riffs that sort of almost hint towards rock. technically I haven't even done anything yet. But just a few things you might have noticed in that package. You heard some of the other sort of homemade instruments that are really the epitome of this type of sound, like kazoos, playing fanfares and all this sort of thing, because it's a sensibility. A jug may or may not even be involved. It might be a tea-chest bass, which is where you sort of string a piece of string to a broom handle and you stretch it and relax it and this sort of thing. Spoons, brushes, all these things, washboards, and when you look at Anna's work later on, you'll see all of these instruments that are sort of extemporised, you know. People used to make guitars out of cigar boxes and just really just take to heart whatever they want to do. And what I think that says is that music is just so good for the spirit. It's just essential, because it's not really getting the washing done when you play a washboard this way, or something served when you play the spoons, but it just lifts your soul, you know. It's fantastic. So it's really important to think about just making music however you can. Gus Cannon, he's one of the guys you heard in the last track. I read of him that his first banjo he made out of a fry pan and a raccoon skin. If that doesn't epitomise what we're talking about. But I seriously thought that's one of the times when you read something and you honestly cannot tell whether or not that's an actual fact, or whether someone's hacked Wikipedia to wait to see how long it takes the nerds to fix it up and make it all right again. So I still don't know. I honestly don't have the answer to that question. The other day when we were talking to Linda, my friend, who heard us on 702, by the way? Oh, yes. Woo! If that was the ratings, then Tony Abbott would slash the ABC until the people were listening. Fortunately. What? Anyway. Right, now I have had a few people ask me, so are you going to perform on the exhibits, on the artwork? And I've actually said to Linda, oh, surely that's just sin. Surely that would be a sin. And she said, no, I think it would be a synthesis. Touche, Linda, that's why she's the broadcaster and I'm just the person who normally shuts up. No, that last part's not true. So I'm going to move myself over here, where you might notice one of the most striking works in the collection, which is the famed Cazzbo jar, which is just incredible. And people have come from the other side of the room to see this. Right, here we go. What I'm going to try to do is get some sort of tune out of the Cazzbo jar. Ooh. Oh, careful, careful, careful! I'm going to honour someone who's in this room. And it's not actually me, believe it or not. Hello, maybe it is. But the wonderful, a colleague of mine for many years, someone who I respect, who inspires me nearly every day, although some days I don't see him, although he lives just around the corner from me, so what do we say about neighbours? Mick Conway is here, and he is an absolute living national treasure. There is no doubt about that. And anyway, you're going to hear Mick in this next number, in something I prepared earlier. What I've actually got is the entire National Junk Band, minus me, on a track. So you'll hear harmonica. You'll actually hear Jim, Mick's brother Jim Conway, on the harmonica, and you'll hear the rest of the junk band all weaving together, and I will weave in with them live, but on this metal jug, which is a former oil can. It's got this little ventilation spout on the other end for when you're pouring so it doesn't glug too much. And I like this metal jug because I can move around with it and I can hold it with one hand and it really doesn't matter. if I drop it. Whereas it really would matter a lot if I dropped the Cazzbo jug. I would enter another dimension that couldn't be repaired with arrowroot. So what I'm going to do is start my track up, and then we'll hear a song. The song is the type of song that the young band quite likes when we're not doing our own material. It's a John Lennon song called Crippled Inside. So it's got a kind of happy, kind of jaunty, jug band, earthy sound, but a dark and meaningful lyric. You know, when Paul McCartney got retro, he used to take into what his father did. His father played in dance bands, so it all gets kind of a bit jazzy, a bit corny, some might say, especially John Lennon would say that. But when John Lennon got kind of retro and earthy and tactile and wanted to simplify, he would actually go to skiffle, which is kind of like the jug band British style.